Back to news across Nigeria. Except consumers pay for the electricity they use, it'll be hard to sustain the service. But before we continue with words spoken by the Ikeja electricity disco suppliers, we'd like to remind you that all our top stories can be found on our website. That's channelstv.com and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Also visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS, and Windows phones from their respective stores. We'd also like to urge you to please interact with the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app on the Android, iOS, and Windows platforms. If you have pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, tap the app on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and follow the instructions. Now, except consumers do pay for energy they use, it will be extremely difficult to sustain supply of power. These were the words of the chief executive of the Egbin Power Plant, Kolawole Adesina. Speaking today in Lagos to journalists, Mr. Adesina says there's still a challenge from the constituent parts of the power chain to effect that it impedes supply. He goes on to, however, assure on a massive rollout of prepaid meters numbering over 300,000 as a means to checkmate energy theft. Take a listen.
Metering, people talk about metering. We're talking of metering at our own hand here. We've signed a metering contract of $106 million. Now, for a company that has not been paid, you're signing a metering contract of $106 million. Invariably, you expect to be paid. Now, you are now saying that if those meters are not in place, which they can't be in place in one day, you need time. So as long as those meters are not installed, then you won't pay. No. It can work. It cannot, and it will not work. Our system will fail. I don't want, and I don't subscribe to people inefficiently being billed. No. You should not be billed beyond the power you have consumed. It is equally not right.
And now we move on to Ondo State. First, before we go to Ogun State, the Ondo State government has called on the Nigeria Pilgrims Commission to take appropriate steps towards finding the missing victims of the September 24 Hajj Pilgrimage Stampede, which happened in Mina in Saudi Arabia. The State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Mrs. Yemi Mahmood Fashominu, stated this while briefing journalists in Akure, the state capital. Now, according to her, pilgrims from the state are also affected, and the state has decided to mourn its dead.
6 are missing and 4 have been confirmed dead. Throughout Ondo State, next Friday, there will be prayer, special prayer, in all the mosques in Ondo State to pray for the repose of the soul of the department. The government is also using this medium to sympathize with the families of the victims of the Saudi Arabia Stampede. It is an occasion for government to reflect on the situation critically, and the state government is equally saying that the Nigerian Pilgrim Commission should do all to do to ensure that those who are missing are actually looked for, and then we get to the logical conclusion about their whereabouts.
That tragedy indeed left many people mourning. And now we will go to Ogun State, where there's been long queues of vehicles. They're back at petrol stations in the capital, Abeokuta, as a result of the shortage of premium motor spirit, or PMS, or fuel. Now, in Abeokuta, capital of Ogun State, long queues of vehicles are seen at the capital. As you can see, people carrying jerry cans, with motorists struggling for the product at different service points. Now, aside from that, there are also people with the jerry cans you just saw hoping to get the product either walking across the roads or to use for their vehicles or generators to power their homes. It's the same situation in Benin City, where long queues are also seen around the city. Some of the motorists complain of difficulty in getting petrol, asking the federal government to intervene to bring the situation under control. The NNPC had given assurances that it has enough supply and had warned buyers against panic buying. 20 lucky inmates from the Ilesha and Ile-Ife prisons have regained their freedom on various grounds. The Chief Judge of Osun State, Justice Bolanle Adepele Ojo, during trials at the prison, blamed the slow pace of judicial dispensation and delay in investigation procedures by police as the major factor responsible for the congestion in most Nigerian prisons.
The Osun State Chief Judge, Justice Bolanle Adepele Ojo, arrives at the Ile-Ife medium prison, accompanied by other judges and magistrates.
With due sense of humility,
in his welcome remarks, the officer in charge, Ajagono Matthew, told his guests that out of 210 inmates in the prison, 178 of them are on the awaiting trial list. He believes that the police and the judiciary have major roles to play in decongesting the prisons.
I want to mention that with due sense of humility, that the slow pace of judicial dispensation coupled with the characteristic marathon and peculiar delayed investigation procedure of the police have continued to constitute major hindrance in prisons administration as they make the much desired prisons clarification unattainable, thus culminating in unnecessary congestion.
The Chief Judge is committed to ending this problem, and so she conducts a special court session with her team. She looks through some of the prison books and cases against the inmates, and after questions and testimonies, she finds 20 inmates worthy of being released from the Ilesha and Ife medium prisons on grounds of ill health and unnecessary protracted trials.
Delay in trial is just all over in our system. That's why exercises like these are very needful in the administration of justice system. What I see to them is that it is all over. We need to improve on our criminal justice system in a way that administration of justice will be speedily tried and accused persons will have justice on time.
God bless. What God has done my life today.
The freed inmates are happy. Some of them speak about their experiences.
I thank God mighty for what God has done in my life today. And then I want the state government to help many people among the inmates of this yard. Because the way the police are arrested accused people, torturing, do confessional statement, at the end of the day, they will brought the accused person to the court without no any evidence. Please, we are not saying the police officers, they are not performing their duty. They are performing their duty, but they must supposed to make sure that they do properly investigation about the accused person before they brought the accused person to the court.
As the freed inmates celebrate and prepare to leave for their homes, those left behind are hopeful. They pray that their cases will be speedily considered too, so the innocent ones among them can also regain their freedom.
And now to some information on security in the South-South. The coming days will witness a massive deployment of officers of the Nigerian police and other security agencies in Rivers State, if the words of the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 6, AIG Baba Bolanta, is anything to go by. The AIG, who is on his first official visit to the Rivers State Police Command, was in the company of heads of other security agencies. He notes that the new move is to stabilize the situation in the state and ward off any wave of security tension.
It's a meeting of security chiefs led by the AIG in charge of Zone 6 and other security stakeholders in Rivers State at the headquarters of the police command in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. The concern is the recent security reports in the state and to reaffirm the resolve of the security agencies to rise to the occasion.
We need the cooperation of members of the public. That is why I directed the CP to give out dedicated phone numbers so that once there is any security threat or you observe anything, you call those numbers and they will quickly respond and come to your aid. It is important that you cooperate with the security agent.
The AIG informs journalists that there is an ongoing deployment of security personnel and equipment to flashpoints.
Well, that one, we recognize that, and we have taken judicial notice. And if you observe those places you are talking about, you will see that you have increased number of personnel and equipment in those places. For now, we are going to employ the whole arm of the police to make sure we have improved security. And there will be increased collaboration with other security agents too.
Some say this sort of meetings have become necessary following the recent tribunal judgment and to also deal with the wave of crime and criminality in the state. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
We cross the Cross River State now, barely 2 weeks after President Muhammadu Buhari flagged off the construction of the 260-kilometer superhighway in the state. A team of German quality control experts have arrived there to set up a state-of-the-art quality control laboratory which will enable them carry out first-hand tests of all materials of the Benayade signature project. Speaking to newsmen in Calabar shortly on arrival, the lead German quality control expert, Mr. Gunther Honisch, said they were eager to kickstart the project, assuring of quality delivery and on-time line. The chairman, Cross River State Infrastructure Company Limited, Mr. Liwu Eugene Ake, pointed out the need to bring quality control engineers on site because the state needs endorsement of their signatures to be sure of the quality of roads to be delivered.
We are looking forward to start the job in the new superhighway, and we will try to give our best in order to move this project in a proper way and as well to get it successfully done with the required specification.
I want to make that as they see them walk through, they are working for their benefits, like which they will deliver road to them. I'm appealing to all the communities along the way to give them maximum cooperation and friendliness and brotherlyhood while they do their job.
Still to come on news across Nigeria, the environment in the country gets a mention as the woes of erosion are propounded. Stay with us.